in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her ankle, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes.
Say what now? Not 120 new accusers coming out to file a lawsuit against Diddy, with the youngest being just 9 years old. Every time we think this case with Diddy can't get no worse, something new comes up, and it somehow still shocks us despite everything we heard about this demon. This comes after 120 victims came out a few days ago with their own individual lawsuits, accusing Diddy of, say, these victims included grown men and women, teenagers, and literal children as young as 9 years old, and even a whole pregnant woman. Absolutely nobody was safe from Diddy, and this right here is more than enough proof of that. Apart from the multiple substance he was shoving into all these victims against their will, he had an entire line of other demonic men, and they all took turns and continuously essaying all these people, including the kids,
who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
Let's get straight to it, because there's a lot to unpack, and it's beyond disturbing. Just a few days ago, Texas-based attorney tonybuzbee held a press conference announcing he would represent over 120 new accusers who claim Diddy sexually assaulted them over the past 20 years. Busbee revealed that several high-profile celebrities are also implicated in these cases, and he made it clear that he won't hesitate to name them, no matter how famous or powerful they are.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. And I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are.
tonybuzbee went on to explain in detail how Diddy allegedly violated these victims, and it's truly disturbing. According to Tony, Diddy's usual method was to invite unsuspecting people to his parties, make them comfortable, and then spike their drinks with various substances. Once they passed out, he would undress, violate, and manipulate their bodies before passing them to his entourage, who would also assault them. To make things worse, Diddy would record the assaults and silence his victims by threatening to harm them or leak the footage. Shockingly, some of the victims were under 18, with 60 male, 60 female, and 25 of them being minors at the time of the alleged misconduct. One of the victims was just 9 years old.
It is a common theme, an MO, if you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink. Typically, that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something. Once that drink takes effect, the perpetrators perform all kinds of acts on the victims, many times passing him or her around as other people watch and enjoy the show, and then leave the victim ashamed, confused, injured, and wondering what happened. When the victim reaches out, he or she is told not to say anything. Sometimes there are threats of physical violence or financial repercussions or bodily harm. The claims we intend to bring will include the following: facilitated with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling sexual conduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, of minors.
This is where things get even more disturbing. Tony went on to describe in graphic detail how Diddy allegedly targeted some of his victims. including the 9-year-old and the pregnant woman mentioned earlier. One case involved a 22-year-old woman who claimed that the rule at Diddy's parties was that if you didn't accept a drink, you'd be kicked out immediately. This pressured many people into drinking without knowing what was in their drinks. By the time they woke up, they would find themselves in bed, unclothed, and in severe pain. A shocking detail that surfaced repeatedly in the 125 accusers' stories is that Diddy allegedly used horse tranquilizers at these parties. Yes, you heard that right. He was reportedly drugging people, including kids.
90% of the cases, these individuals were with some sort of that was kind of the MO. Another instance, this individual who was 9 years old at the time was taken to a audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were. This individual was abused allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Now, there's been a lot of reports that we're filing a class action. This is not a class action. Class action is when one or two people file a case on behalf of a group of people. That's not this. These cases will be individual cases. Each case will live and die on its own merit. These cases will be filed individually, one plaintiff against whoever the defendants were involved in the case. Each case may be filed in one venue like California. Another case may be filed in New York. One case may sue just Sean Combs, but multiple other people. One case may sue a range of people.
According to Tony, Diddy's 9-year-old victim went to audition to get a record deal with Bad Boy Records, but by the time he left, he had been essayed by both Diddy and several other men in the studio. And according to the little boy, Diddy convinced his parents to keep their mouths shut by promising to give him that record deal he initially came to audition for.
Another told, allegedly by Sean Combs, that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was.
But this 9-year-old wasn't even the only that Diddy SA, because there was another accuser who claims that when he was still a kid, he also tried audition to get signed, but Diddy said he would only sign him if he came over to his house for a private meeting. Once the poor boy arrived at the house with his parents, Diddy pulled him into a private room by himself and made the boy perform oral actions on him.
And taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual was, and then other individuals took turns. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up by, allegedly, by Mr. Combs.
There was another child this time, a 15-year-old girl, and according to her, Diddy flew her out to New York for a party, but she was and then allegedly taken to a private room where Diddy had his way with her, and then after he was done, made his entourage also do the same.
Several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her ankle, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes.
Another victim, who was 26 at the time of the assault, claims that Diddy and his associates picked her up at the airport and gave her a drink in the car that caused her to pass out. When she woke up the next day, she was completely naked and felt intense pain in her private areas.
This time, not in my, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant. But whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out and she woke up in the same bed, again, allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her ankle were torn and sore.
Then there was the pregnant woman who allegedly suffered sexual assault. She claimed that while attending Diddy's party, she didn't consume any of the hard drinks because she was pregnant. However, according to her, the soft drinks and glass of water she had were also spiked. She blacked out, and when she woke up, she found herself in Diddy's bed with severe pain in her private areas from what he had done to her.
Attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again, allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her were torn and sore.
Another victim, a 20-year-old woman, claims she was going about her day when Diddy and his entourage approached her on the street and invited her to a party. Considering Diddy was a big deal at the time, she accepted the invitation and attended the party. However, by the time she left, she was severely under the influence of various substances she had never taken before. When she went to the hospital to get checked out, doctors found she had been given massive doses of horse tranquilizers.
A very young man who told us over the phone about his experience and all the things that happened to him, he says allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and his friends.
And keep in mind, these are just the stories of 7 out of the 125 new accusers. The reason Tony took on these cases is that these 125 individuals have substantial evidence of what happened to them, including hospital records, security camera footage, and witness accounts. Tony even set up a hotline for others who may also be victims of Diddy to come forward.
In my career, at least, we represent thousands of survivors of it, and never, ever in a 10-day period have we seen over 3,000 people come forward.
This conduct has created a mass of individuals who are injured, scared, and scarred. If you are one of those individuals, we ask you to reach out. If not to us, to someone you trust. If you are someone who witnessed any of these events, we ask you to reach out.
Before anyone comes for me, let me clarify that these are not my words. I'm just here to report the news and share what's happening. As usual, people didn't hold back in expressing their thoughts. One commenter said, "Shame on the parents. Stop selling your children to these celebrities for riches and fame. How can an adult look at a child and see anything? How can a parent not feel protective of all children?" Another person remarked, "Diddler is going down and I hope those complicit will join him. Justice for the victims." Now, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the allegations against Diddy involving children? Do you believe tonybuzbee will win all 125 cases? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.